Is cold calling dead? If you've seen the headlines, it would sound like there's no place in business for dinosaurs like me anymore. When I came up, I was on a dialer, it was outbound calls and dealing with constant rejection. Getting past the gatekeeper was a skill. Now it seems there's ways to bypass the gatekeeper and use social selling and modern techniques to get that sale. Joining us in the VAMO studio, we've got Holly Allen, who coaches SDRs, and Fred Copestake, the author of Hybrid Selling, to share some of their views on the modern way of selling.
I think my experience of working with Mike, certainly in our last startup, was there was lots of activity that would get leads into the pipeline, right? So free PDFs you could download, loads of social posting, all of that. But then where we actually got our sales and where we got our money was Mike getting on the phone, speaking to people, booking meetings, doing demos. It was the hard graft that nobody wanted. And Mike's like kind of odd. He's fine with rejection. So he'll do 40, 50 calls within a day.
With a face like mine on a night out, and you'd get used to it as well, mate.
But you are used to rejection. And I think you touched on it earlier. You have to kind of be a bit odd to be able to live with that daily. No wonder none of us want to do that. Who wants to get told no 50 times a day? But that was sales. Is it completely? Are we just avoiding it, or is it totally dead?
I think a lot of startups die because most people don't want to do that bit. It's easy to hide behind email sequences and say nurture campaigns and all that stuff. I think a lot of startups, owners, founders, whatever, prefer to do that stuff. I'm guessing, because I've not worked in that environment for a long time, because we've worked for myself for so long, I'm guessing there's a lot of people sat in call centers or that are supposed to do outbound sales, that if you said to them, do you want to phone these 100 leads, whether they're cold or warm, it could be a cold list or a warm list, or do you want to write 3 posts, share a time that you've, a vulnerable post on Thursday, share something in your personal life on Tuesday. I guarantee, maybe not guarantee, I reckon that most people would rather do 3 posts on LinkedIn and their pipeline or their activity would be, well, that got 17 likes, that got 23 likes, because that's easier to do than actually phone those 100 people that have actually put their hand up and said, I've got a problem or I'm interested in your product. What do you think? Would you say people prefer to do that now because it's easier? Or do you just think, I'm wrong, that is how you sell nowadays? Unfortunately, Mike, the way you sell is dead. That's the way you sell now.
So I would say if you're not posting on LinkedIn, building your brand, like you are missing out on a potential selling avenue and like a lot of opportunities. I don't think there's like you have to just social sell and that's it. Like if you're sick at cold calling and you can book 5 meetings a day through the phone, like absolutely cold call. If you are really good at creating emails that get a super high open rate, like do that. And I think that, in my opinion, I think salespeople should like spread themselves across all of those different avenues. Like we're so lucky nowadays in that it's not just relying on door-to-door selling. We've got LinkedIn, we've got the phone, we've got videos, we've got loads of cool like video platforms like Vidyard, for example. Like use them all because like some people, like you said that you're not a fan of voice notes, but like some people that I've prospected into, they've been like, oh my God, I've had 300 emails from SDRs today. You've sent me a voice note. Like, yes, let's book this meeting in now just because I admire your skill for doing that.
I don't listen to them. Even when my mates send me them, I just think, fuck off. Text like a normal person.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. Do you know what? Like, even if it's in a WhatsApp group, if you sent me a voice note, I just think, like, I don't want to listen to that. It's intrusive, I think.
I'll tell you who sends them. It's always, that dead extroverted mate who's fucking well annoying. You could put up with them for 5 minutes on a night out, but you don't want to get cornered for 3 hours. Then.
Yeah.
Hey Dan, fuck off. Send a text. So I read it in my own time.
Well, you sent me a voice note, and I don't. But you told me you book a lot of business, or you get a lot of business through voice notes. So, say if I'm a business owner now, and I wanted something tangible to take away from listening to this podcast. So, how do voice notes work? How would I structure a voice note? When should I use it? What's it good for? So, just take me through that process now. So, imagine I'm a newbie, and now I'm going to follow your process to send a voice note to an ideal client. Yeah. Let's see how it works, and we'll give it our feedback.
Okay, so if I was going to send a voice note to a prospect for the first time, I would be connecting with them on LinkedIn. As soon as they've accepted my connection request, I'm going to be straight in there with a voice note. So no kind of message beforehand, no message after. I'm going straight in with that voice note. The reason why you want to be like quite quick with it is to create like that sense of urgency. They've just accepted your connection request, so your name is like fresh in their mind. They might have gone onto your profile. Hopefully you've got a strong personal brand, so you've left an impression, and they've kind of looked at your company or seen your company name, so they know who you work for. So, of course, like when you're calling, like you want to be upbeat, like tone of voice is super important. A voice note on LinkedIn can only last a minute long, so you can't kind of trail off, which is definitely a good thing. So you want to be keeping it between kind of 40 to 50 seconds max so that it's not like overwhelming for that person. And you just want to go in and you're not pitching your product at all. You're essentially going on their profile, finding something exciting and relevant that you can reach out about, make them feel good. Hey, Mike, saw your video on toxic positivity yesterday, thought it was amazing, especially loved this bit. Thanks for sharing that, like making you feel good, giving you a bit of an ego boost. And then kind of subtly saying something like, just on that note, wanted to make you aware of this, without kind of giving the whole sales pitch like at all, but just subtly dropping something in there. And then a very kind of gentle call to action, like, not sure if this is relevant at all to you, Mike, appreciate you're probably super busy, but look, if you do want to chat, let me know.
And how successful would you say that is for yourself personally doing that?
So for me personally, it was my most successful channel of booking meetings. So 90% of my meetings as an SDR all started from sending a voice note.
See, what I find interesting about that is take the voice note out now and say that was you were going to type that message out. You would get hammered on LinkedIn for saying like, oh, straight away you're already suggesting what you do as a business. People say connect and don't send a message, even a DM.
They do. I mean, and does it matter what sort of voice you got? 'Cause you got
But
quite
so weird, I was about to say that. I was about to say that.
Oh, that's not offensive, but you have if I leave a voicemail, Dan Kelso here from Offended, you prick. That's doing some business or what? You know what I mean? They're going to go, absolutely not.
Holly didn't say that, though.
I don't
Her
think
structure was very clever.
No, I've got to work on the delivery, I know.
It was personalised, it was relevant.
So
yeah.
So that you're saying that's important.
Well, I mean, voice-wise, is that going to affect it?
She said, I'd heard your stuff, seen it, and then this is what we do, but it was relevant to you, not just this is what we do. Do you want to buy some? Very carefully thought.
So was it my message that was wrong?
I mean, I think I wouldn't call someone a prick in a voice note. That probably wouldn't be a good starting point. But I also think like you just have to be quite clever with your tone of voice and almost play a little bit dumb. So like, look, Mike, really not sure if this is relevant at all. Could be completely off here. But just so you know, that kind of like very gentle, soft, like I know what I'm doing. I know that this is going to work. I know that this is relevant. I've done my research. I've done my homework. But I'm not going in with this. At G2, we are the TripAdvisor, but for software where you sound like an automated call voice, right?
So I'm going to play devil's advocate now. I'm a sales team leader. Mm-hmm. Are my members of staff or my team doing this with their mobiles? Are they, how are they doing this? Are they on LinkedIn on their mobile? I don't kind of get how it works. How are you leaving voice notes?
So you can only leave a voice note on LinkedIn via the mobile app.
All right, okay.
So you can't do it. You can listen to it on like a laptop, but you can't leave it on a laptop.
And then another complaint I'd have or issue I'd bring up is I know there are lots of people that would do anything but having to phone someone. So they would do 10 minutes research, then dial a number, weren't in or whatever. So how much research would you be doing before you left a voice note? Do you see what I mean? Is it like, are you doing 1 minute's research? Are you not really doing much research? Or are you going, this group of people have got similar characteristics, so I can use the same kind of intro for each one? Will you sort of chunk your data like that? How would it work?
So I'm probably spending a minute, maybe less, doing my research before a voice note. All I need to do is go on LinkedIn, look at their most recent post, and make them feel good about it. That's literally it. And it feels hyper-personalised for that prospect, but really, it's very, very easy.
She didn't really watch your episode.
Yeah, I know she didn't. I know she didn't.
Does that? Not many people do. I tell you who does. George. Fucking runner. I'm watching you, George. Does that then remove this element of, because I mean, all we see plastered across LinkedIn nowadays is be authentic, right? Where it's fucking marketing, sales, not matter. Be authentic.
There's nothing more inauthentic than that message, I think.
But that's the thing, right? How is, if me just going on someone's profile that I don't know, looking at their latest post, even if I think it's shit, going, hi, Dave, that was an absolutely great post. Look, with you 5.
No, I think you should be honest, because if you want to sell content for people, you almost go, listen, Dave, I've seen your last post. It was shit, mate. I can help you there.
Not for me.
I think you would do well with voice notes, by the way.
For me, it would. But I mean, just in general for a product, if that's all you're doing, you lose that authentic element, don't you? That's not authentic.
I think if I'm like Joe Public and I got a voice note off the Dan Kelso, the real Dan Kelso, blue tick, I think they it'd blow their mind. I think they wouldn't believe it.
So I just start doing it. I might just start doing something a bit.
Well, I think
a bit off the wall, like just farting down then you go, sorry, what was that? Oh, sorry, just farted. Hey, it's me, Dan.
no, I think
I was doing some business.
it's a nice little test. I reckon if you did a couple of voice notes, I reckon you'd get more leads in, like cold voice notes as well. Anybody that liked your, I was going to say anybody that likes your post, but it'd be too many. But if you just picked sort of 10 people that liked your posts, I reckon you would probably get a high win rate or high. Yeah,
well, I'll try it. I'm going to take your method.
However, that's because you're selling marketing. I think if I did it for animated explainer videos for Iron Productions, I think that wouldn't be anywhere near as successful.
Right.
Yeah, I think a point to add there, it definitely works better in like certain industries and for certain ICPs than others. So like for me at G2, prospecting into like sales leaders, marketers, perfect. Like the majority of them love a voice note. Not everyone, don't get me wrong, but like the majority do. However, like a head of finance who maybe doesn't really use LinkedIn and you're popping up with a voice note might not work as well. They might be like, whoa, this is the coolest thing ever. Yeah. But it doesn't always work.
So you would be actively doing it for active people on LinkedIn. So it's like, oh, they use LinkedIn quite a lot. I know they'll probably respond better to this way of sales.
So not necessarily just people that are active on LinkedIn, because I do think some people will surprise you in that maybe they haven't posted in like 2 years. But like I say, when they do get that play button pop up on their phone, they're like, whoa, like this is a bit different. Haven't had this before. And it does excite them. And a lot of feedback I used to get from the voice notes I would send was people coming being like, oh my God, I had no idea that you could send a voice note. Like, this is so cool. Like prospects voice noting me back being like, is this how you do it? Like, this is fun. So I think sometimes the people that you wouldn't necessarily think would respond well to a voice note actually do.
Would you use voice notes?
No.
Yeah. And why is that?
No, because I prefer video.
Oh, wow.
How do you send videos?
You can send video in LinkedIn, you can send video in email as well. So it's get same psychology that people are starting to hear you, but they're starting to see you as well.
So
I know that I'd probably put most people off, but when you're got that little thumbnail with somebody popping up in your inbox, because people aren't doing enough of this, I've got to press play.
Yeah, I find that
and then
interesting
it's
as well.
Personalised, which can either be, hey Dan, I saw that you had said this, or it can be reasonably generic. You could sort of say that ICP, that kind of customer, I could record one that would be valid for sort of 10, 12 people.
Yeah.
Same video, send it out to all of them. There you go. I've now done 10 outreach, 12 outreach in 60 seconds. Or however long it takes me to record the video, which is like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And again, it's only exactly the same thing, short video, 60 seconds, personalised, relevant, call to action.
We had something
and we're trying to get a conversation, remember. We're not trying to say, and here's the link to buy all the stuff straight from
so don't shoot your load too soon on your video.
We're trying to get a conversation up and running.
That's the fluffer.
Yeah, definitely. It's a fluffer video, mate.
But we had something similar with when we were doing websites. Someone had done like a review of our website and stuff, and we were quite impressed by that, weren't we? So it did actually stand out thinking about it now.
But has video and voice notes just replaced cold calling then? This is cold outreach, right?
Yeah.
It's just that we're not getting on the phone anymore because people don't use phones or don't like to be be people ringing them up, but they're more than happy to get a voice note or a video.
I think the whole something is dead thing. I mean, that's just a headline on LinkedIn, isn't it? To get
people
no, it isn't. Oh, yes, it is.
Just means you shit it, doesn't it?
So do you think then I think there's two things happening here. Number one, the person sending the voice note or sending the video, they're protecting themselves from instant rejection. So they're removing themselves from that. Because I can send you a voice note, you don't respond. I don't feel like I've been rejected. I'm not sat there going, told no, don't call me again. Like, take my number off your database. So you're kind of removing that part, which I used to get a lot of, by the way, especially at BT. And then I just put them back in the dialer system so they get a call back 2 minutes later. Fuming. You were fuming when you got one of them as well. It's the 6th time you've called me today. It's like, it's going to be 7, mate. Second call back 4 minutes. But then also, you're then letting the buyer, they're not feeling under pressure. So if you've left me a voice note now for something that I might need, I can kind of think about it. I'm not on the spot. I don't have to respond. So do you think we've all just become a little bit, we don't like being sold to, and we don't like selling to people because we feel that's a bit dirty and sleazy. So it's almost like, this is what I do. You know where I am if you need me. And they're going, all right, I kind of know what you do. When I need you, I'm going to get in touch with you because you've got a good personal brand. So are we kind of agreeing then that sales has changed? It has, hasn't it? Because that never would have happened before.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe.
So is the best way to sell a combination of both?
It just seems like, I mean, like I say, I think it's changed at a granular level, but I think it's still do something to get someone's attention and build a bit of rapport with them.
Yeah.
Get into the negotiating stage, get some money off them. That's not changed. I just think that the methods we do.
You need to do something before negotiate. You don't want to be talking to them about what it is. Yeah.
Maybe that's what I'm getting at. This is why I don't sell. See? No idea.
You probably just haven't recognised the stage, which is we get into a conversation, we start to understand what it is you're trying to achieve, how we could help with that. I want to do it like this, Dan. Fred, I'm not sure that's a good idea, mate. You probably want to do it like this. Oh, okay, right, I hadn't thought of that. No, because it's my job to think like that. Okay, cool. Okay, what would that be worth? So that's the conversation with the middle.
That's the reason I don't recognise it, because Dean does that, because I don't like people. I just go, Dean, if somebody got in touch, and then Dean does the rest of it.
So bring it back to the original question, is old school selling dead? It sounds like what we've talked about there is prospecting isn't, and we still need to fill our pipelines. We just maybe do that in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
But old school salespeople, are they relevant now? Like you always told me that good salespeople are broken. That was like one of the lines when we started at Learning Heroes.
I would say that.
That seems to be changing now. There isn't the get them on the phone and trick them into buying.
Yeah.
Do you think that part of sales is dead now?
Yeah. Was that ever a part of sales though, or is that just some shit salespeople?
Probably in the 80s.
I just think the boiler room thing,
1890s,
maybe
snake oil, and then 1980s, close. Really good. But I'm not sure anything is dead. I've heard talk about stuff has evolved.
Yeah.
So if you look at sales and what's gone on in sales and kind of what's gone on over the last sort of number of decades, there's been always something that's reasonably hot that's sort of quite good to do. Now, a lot of that stuff is still relevant. You look back to the 50s, use process. Brilliant. Yeah, we can still use process now. You look back to the 60s, psychology. Yeah, we're going to try to understand how somebody thinks and adapt our behavior to that. 70s, sell benefits. Yeah, absolutely. This is why somebody would want to buy some offers. 80s, closing. Okay, well, if we think about sales as a series of advancements, whether it's SDR to AE or whether you're running the full cycle yourself, that's still relevant. 90s, big deal, big change. That's consultative selling. That's where we spend way more time asking questions of people to help them make sense of stuff. When we go into the noughties, we start talking about value. So, do we all understand? We all, not just I'm going to come and tell you what value is, but do we understand what value can look like? Yeah, then we come into the 10s. That's when we start really talking about personal brand. So you're representing that I am the person that can do this. And to 20s, we come into collaborative selling. So it's not that anything's dead. It's just that it's moving on. We can take the bits which are still worthwhile and useful, kick out the stuff that's rubbish.
But surely there are sections that I did. So, like I started my only real sales job. It was down the road here in Bastard Studio, where it was Ultimate Kitchens Furniture. They gave me a page out of the yellow pages. I was 16. They gave you a list out of the yellow pages. You just worked your way down, speaking to people, cold calling, and then people kicking off, like Mike said. Lasted 2 weeks. I was out of there. Nobody does that now, right? That's gone.
No, you'd be surprised. So we've got 2 clients. This is the other thing. We've got 2 clients who both scaled back their marketing efforts. So they were doing marketing. I think one of them wanted to scale back because they thought it was too silly and unprofessional, and one of them wanted to scale back because they didn't think they were getting the number of leads through for this product that they thought they should be getting. And what they both did instead was scale back the marketing and build 2 call centers, neither of which have worked. So they've literally built these call farms of experienced people, though, not just kids off the street, not just shit like little shits like me who are getting sales jobs on Gumtree.
You'd be an SDR nowadays, mate. They're like the bottom of the. They feel to me like the bottom of the. You'd be a fluffer, yeah. But we had that. Let you on screen.
You had that at Learning Heroes, didn't we, where you outsourced some of the sales activity?
And they were wanky, if I'm honest.
Well, I mean, it's one of them.
That was my review.
I think that these are experienced people. Like one of them sold a business that was mostly made up of call centers. Sold it for a lot of money. I think it's like close to 140 million. The other one sold a business that's like a connectivity business, and again in the hundreds of millions, right? And they both set up very successful businesses based on building these call centers, these massive sales teams that could churn out calls at a massive rate. And then they've tried to replicate the same nowadays for their new startups where they pump loads of money into them, and it's not worked in either instance at all. And they're back to marketing now again, realising that actually that wasn't the way to do it. It doesn't work. Our method of doing things before does not work the same now.
Yeah. Well, I'd look at like the most well-known sales trainers on LinkedIn have all got strong personal brands. All the ones I can think of anyway. There probably are better salespeople out there, but the only ones I see are the ones with that are posting out content, and they post a lot of content. And if someone said to me now, Mike, we need our sales team training, what would you do for them? I'd say join VAMO for £15 a month by clicking the link in the description below.
Always be selling.
But then always be selling, yeah. But I'd probably say, if it's telephone prospecting, you want Benjamin or you want Callum, or I'd speak about those people, and they've got the strong personal brands. So I kind of agree with you there. I'm quite interested in what you said though about the consultative selling. So you're saying 2020 is consultative selling. Like, what is that and how does that work?
So consultative really came through in the 90s. That's when Neil Rackham did all that research into kind of what salespeople are actually doing. They were trained to close, but actually they weren't doing it. They were asking people more questions to understand their need, which was basically helping them understand implications of stuff of not doing something, like pain or whatever you want to call it.
Because that then you're making the prospect close themselves, essentially, doing it that way.
You're helping them to understand. So for me, salespeople, it's all about making sense. Salespeople, a sense maker is quite a current thing. But that consultative stuff back in the 90s, you look at the kind of the evolutions, and why I say, look, for me, that's why I wrote the book on it, collaborative selling is where we're at now, is that we can take all of this stuff that used to work before, but we can position ourselves as somebody who's going to work with somebody to help them try to achieve what they're trying to do. We're going to do it in a way which is sort of far more about co-creating, working together. We're not got this kind of fight going on and trying to manipulate people into stuff they don't want to do. If we can position ourselves to be doing that, and again, the personal brand helps because you can show that's how I operate, that's where we're going in the 20s.
And that's a case of asking better questions, you positioning the problem, putting a monetary value against it, how much would it cost you to fix? So instead of me selling you and it feeling like a sleazy thing where you've extracted my budget from me and give me a shit product, it's almost like he's identified a problem and we're going to fix this problem in my business together. Is that how it would work?
Exactly. And so that's when you're asking the question about qualifying out, disqualifying. It's, I can't do that with everyone. Don't want to do it with everyone. Yeah. It takes two to tango. To work with this kind of, I talk about partnering mindset. It's as though we're partners. Now, partnerships is something that's deliberate. But if we all think as though we are in partners because we're going to be working together here, and we approach it like that and use the skills involved with that, that's a way more productive and far more pleasant conversation.
Yeah.
So we just need to set it up now, whether it's via an SDR, whether you're setting it up yourself. We want to get into those conversations where we can really start to do some stuff that's going to make a massive difference. That's what good salespeople will do.
So that then has removed that people don't like being sold to anymore, because most people said they don't like being sold to. I did a poll on LinkedIn about this, and pretty much everyone was like, I don't want to speak to a salesperson, but if somebody could help me make the right selection for my business to solve that problem, I want to speak to people that are knowledgeable, know what they're doing.
They want to work with.
Yeah,
they want to work kind of in collaboration, as opposed to you're going to rock up, you're going to talk me until you're trying to bore me to death. I'm just going to say yes, so you go away.
Yeah,
that is old hat. That stuff's dead. It doesn't work. Some people will still try it because they reckon it's a good idea, but they'll do more damage than they'll probably do good. Yeah. But the people who get it and can adapt this approach to sort of, I want to work with the right kind of people who want to work with me. Together we can get to this point that they're trying to achieve, but of course it benefits me because I'm selling the stuff that I sell. That's the more modern sales approach.
Yeah. So it's
now,
not a
whether
rebrand,
anything's
really.
died along the way, we might do less of something, but we can bring in all of the things that are going to aid us in that way of working. That's what smart salespeople do in whichever flavor, whether they're SaaS, whether they're kind of selling trucks, whether they're selling beer, whatever. It's just more modern way of working.
What's one bit of sales advice that stuck with you? What's the best piece of sales advice you've ever had? Put you on the spot. Sorry.
Ooh, interesting.
To the
good
group.
Question. Yeah. To the group. Yeah.
One I had very, very early on in the career: make the customer look good. Simple as that, and that's not changed. That's not dead. That's what I just described when I was talking before. It's like that's a way of doing that more effectively. So yeah, I'd stick with that one.
Like it.
Yeah, I'd say ask for the sale. The number of people that don't ask for the sale when someone's literally wants to spend money with you and people are still awkward about actually saying, so are we going ahead with that? Like, let's do it. Most people don't want to do that. I imagine you'd be quite bad at that.
I'm bad at lots of things, mate. What?
Actually, like, even when someone said that, like, yes, I'm really interested, but you actually asking for the money of someone.
I'm absolutely terrible. Like, honestly, I was about to say, because my best bit of sales advice I ever received was off myself, where I said, stop celebrating before the ink's dry.
Yeah, that's. I think
the amount of deals I've gone out and I've gone on a 3-day bender and gone back, and it turns out we haven't got a deal. So I mean, so get the fucking contract signed. That's my
money in the bank. It's not a sales. There's money in the bank, is what they say.
There you go. Yeah.
I've heard that question asked so many times, but I've never heard anybody quote themselves as giving themselves the best advice.
I did. After a while, I'm thinking this doesn't work.
It was worth coming and doing this just for that.
But I would look at it and say, well, you've kind of outsourced that part of the process to Dino, right? So
it's his business as well. He's not outsourced.
No, but what I'm saying is like that he does the bit that he's good at, and you don't do the bit that you're good at. Like me and Ian kind of used to do it that way, but Ian's now actually embraced that sales.
Yeah, I very quickly realised that no matter how hard I try, there's a lot I just can't be good at. And I just stick to it. Now I just stick to getting good at the stuff that I'm good at.
That's what I'm saying.
Better at the stuff I'm good at, rather than trying to solve the. I'm never gonna. I don't think I'm ever gonna be a good salesperson. I'm too nervous and jittery and anxious to start asking for money, and I'll beat around the bush or whatever else. But
I'd say you've got the stronger personal brand, though, eh? So I've never seen Dino do a post on LinkedIn, and I've never seen any of his content on it.
So he doesn't have to.
That's what I'm saying. So you're kind of like
balancing that, isn't it?
It's quite a good split to have.
Yeah.
So you probably social sell, and Dino actually does the.
I don't call it again. I just think social selling's a made up bullshit word. I just think I do marketing. He sells the products.
Yeah, interesting.
Holly, have you got a bit of advice that stuck with you? No pressure. No.
Listen more than you talk.
Cool.
I've fucked up there as well. And
So that's interesting. One of my original sales trainers says you've got 2 ears, 1 mouth. Use them in those ratio, proportions, percentages, whatever. We'll edit one of those words out.
Yeah.
So they're 2 ears, 1 mouth.
Build on that. Yeah. So 2 ears, 1 mouth, use them in that proportion. Yeah. 2 eyes, because looking at people, reading the body language, seeing whether what they're saying is consistent with that is big. Hence, jump on video if you can.
1 nose,
go and
smell
see
the bullshit.
Yeah. 1 nose, yeah.
2 feet. So put yourself in their shoes. That for me is the biggie. If you can put yourself in their shoes, so you can start understanding what's important to them, what pains they've got, what things they're trying to achieve, why that's important to them from a business point of view, from a personal point of view. That's probably the biggest of the 2-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
So 2 ears, 2 eyes, but also 2 feet in their shoes.
Old school selling, is it dead? I don't think it's died. It's just adapted. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
The best bits of it are still around. But if you're smart, utilize what tools you've got at your fingertips, and you will be a far more successful salesperson. Thanks for watching the Views My Own podcast. If this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your comments below. And also, we've got an online community that helps you improve your marketing, get better at sales, and make your business a little less shit. Click the link in the description.